Hey guys, how you doing? It's Qcento, and before we get into the video for today, I just want to remind you to go ahead and click the link to my Twitch in the description and drop a follow. This goes a long way because I do all of my deck designs on live streams generally, and we test them out there prior to putting out the videos. And today we're going to be talking about Shield Wall, specifically how I like to play Shield Wall. It's been a very popular option over the last few months, and it's still very viable in today's meta. So the idea of the deck is to basically crowd the board with units and boost them, much like a swarm. However, you have more control aspects with removal cards, reset cards, and random generated damage pings. So there's a few cards that are really important to see and really important to include in this deck to really bring it all together, and I'll get into that right here. Amphibious Assault is one of my favorite Northern Realms cards. Essentially, you get to play a Northern Realms unit from your deck with a provision cost of 9 or less and boost it by 1 for each provision below the limit. So this is a really good card for pulling out those bronze cards that are really good supplementary cards to your play, such as the Carrack Frigate to help get the Swarm on the board, or the Timerian Drummer as an engine to boost into maybe the Tridam Infantry, or even the Tridam Infantry if you're missing it and you already have a Drummer or Anastranger on the playing field. And lastly, Carrack Marine's a really good option to pull with Amphibious because through the boosts it gets from pulling from deck and the Devotion 4 boost that it gets, it's a very strong 12 or 13 points that you're playing in most cases, so I would recommend using Amphibious for those applications. Bloody Baron is one of my favorite cards to include in the list because with the current meta, a lot of people are going very tall with boosting their units and they're getting very greedy. So with this one here, you're able to put it on the ranged row with Formation and have it boost up to 7 power, but then on order next turn you could reset the power of a unit. If it is boosted, which it will be with the formation status, you'll be able to give bleeding for a duration equal to the amount that it was boosted. For example, you'll see a lot of units boosted to 20, it'll reset them to their base power and then give them 20 bleeding, which ensures that they're not going to be climbing up to where they were previously. And then you have Onseus, another card with formation, so you can play it on the ranged row if you'd like to get the added boost, or you could play it on the melee row if you'd like to give it zeal and use it right away. With this one here, the order is to damage a unit by 4, but if it's inspired, it can duel the enemy unit instead. So it plays for quick removal of an engine if there's 4 power, or it can act as a very tall removal. And the reason why we put something like this in Shield Wall is because we maximize the damage it can give, providing that we give it a shield. Then we have Anastranger. Every allied turn on turn end boosts the unit to the right by 1. If it's inspired, boost adjacent units by 1 instead. It's a powerful engine for only a very low cost of 7 provision. I love to put the Anastranger right beside something like the Tridam Infantry so that you're able to boost the Tridam on one side, maybe even a second one on the other side, and have those 4 passive points per turn, half of which being boost, half of which being damage. So Anastranger is a very powerful card that can be used in pretty well any application to keep things running and to get your dual cards nice and boosted so that they can deal more damage later to the tall units that we'll see in most games. And of course, Tridam Infantry. Whenever this unit receives a boost, damage a random enemy unit by 1. This is so important because you have so many different things like the Tridam Drummers, the Mad Charge, the Anastranger, the Egmont, the Corvo, the Reynard. Everything is sort of centered around boosting a card, right? So it just makes complete sense to put these wherever you can so that you're having more damage dealt to your opponent and therefore winning the game. And it really comes down to a big finish with Tridam in most cases that really secures the round 3. This deck would be great for new and experienced players who are just looking to climb the ladder. It deals with most situations very well, and it's very difficult to stop if you can get these engines running. I find sometimes it will struggle when you're playing against heavy damage decks. However, there are still ways to play around it with your shields and your defender and whatnot. So I certainly recommend trying it if the goal is just to rank. You'll notice a lot of people are playing similar versions of this in the ladder, maybe even something close to identical. However, it works, and this is why a lot of people are playing it currently. So we'll show you a few games and you guys can see for yourself how powerful this is and how hard it is to stop.
Any last words?
So normally I like to keep at least one Tridam in hand, In this case, we won't be controlling a knight in round 1, so we can mulligan back the mad charge. And a Stranger would be nice if we have to really force the round. I would say put back one of the Carrick Marines, because I like the option of pulling one with Amphibious. And Corval's pretty good. This is not a bad first round hand. So the goal here is to bait out some of the stronger cards and look for a way out of this round as soon as possible. We want to save a lot of the good stuff for later on, so I would play maybe the Royal Guard into a drummer and maybe squeeze one of the Tridams in the middle or something like that. We'll see how it goes. Just to protect it and start getting a bit of a boost going. So far, there's a bit of a contrast between the way that they're playing and the way that we're playing, so I hope that that continues for the next couple turns. I think that we'll go ahead with the Carrick Marine simply because we might actually hit off the armor if we decide to put the Tridam down. So to get most value out of it, let's just go ahead and do that now. And the Werecat comes down. I think we can keep pushing just a bit further because I do like the exchange between our bronze cards and their gold cards. So by having Tridam down there, if they decide to pass right now, we'll be able to take the round on one card. And there we have it, okay. I think that that's where we get out of this one, more than likely. The only other commitment that I could put would be Valyrian, but it's only going to play for 5 points, which will bring us to 22 with an active engine going for them. So I would say we pass in this case. Card advantage is always good, especially when we didn't commit as much, which means we're able to pull into much better things as the game goes on. So Mad Charge can go back. We can grab Egmont and maybe mulligan back the Royal Guard in case they want to push, right? We have more points in pocket with the Carrick Marine. I would anticipate a pass. Our throw card in this case is probably going to be the Lyrian Scytheman, but we'll see what happens here. So ideally we'd like to pull into something like Amphibious Assault, which we don't have. So we're going to go ahead and just put the Tridam down in this case and see if they continue to play. So we can roll out something a bit more aggressive here. Let them know that we're going for it. Ideally, if we're going to have to start running into the Corval play, it has to be sooner than later to get the most value out of it, right? So what we'll do is just put Corval down on ranged. In case they have Maruna, let's keep it out of Maruna range with boosting Corvo up with the leader charge. And hopefully we can escape this round, because we need to pull into a lot of better things later on. The benefit here is that we have a hard reset and we have a duel in pocket, so that's actually pretty good. Anna Stranger goes down to start getting value immediately, so we'll inspire Anna so that we're boosting both sides in this case. So we have to make a choice. I think that by denying the consume, it'll probably be the best option. So we'll go for the Barghest. And just keep that out of parasite range. And next we'll look to put the Eggman on melee so that we have an engine buffing the Onseus. Give it a couple boosts to keep it out of, again, parasite range, which is one of the damage cards for monsters, which deals for 6 damage. So by having 7 here, we're good to go. The only main concerns I would have in a case like this would be maybe Detlef. There we go. So we'll just put that there to bring back this and keep it inspired, so this way if we have to play into the Lyrian, we're in good shape. What I'd like to do though is I'd like to spend some Corvo charges so that if they decide to pass, we have a way out of this round. There we go. Detlef plays for 19, so we should be pretty good. Oh, that's a tough one. So they'll reset the range row with Yurden, and what we can do here is probably go for Baron on front. Yep. Reset to 10. And we'll deal 3 here, and just to let them know. So we're able to maintain card advantage going into round 3. We just have to pull into some of the key components here in order to take the lead. So hopefully we get maybe Selkirk. Amphibious Assault would be nice, and Varaxis. Mulligan away this. And probably mulligan away the Mad Charge because I want a unit in this case. So this is not too bad, to be honest. Parasite was spent, and Alzur's Thunder was spent, so I don't think we're going to have too many problems with removal. So we'll just go ahead and get the drummer down so that we can renew the ability of the Marine every turn. And we can actually do very well by taking out this Goliath. I'll show you exactly what I mean, okay? So we'll put this down here and shield it just so that we don't have to risk removal. By dueling this card and killing it, the opponent, being us, will summon the highest unit from our deck, which will be Varaxis King or Reynard, to either reset the deployability or just play for 6 points. And I guess they could probably see that that's going to be a problem. And I would imagine this being Detlef, or And they took the route of just making sure we couldn't duel it away. I still think that we're in pretty good shape here. 3. And it's a tie. It's an amazing game. I'm going to include this one in the video simply because we didn't pull into exactly what we're looking for, but we were able to still get a significant amount of points and play around cards like Gyarados and all of what they had to really force us in round 2. Alright, so we'll play another game here.
It's war you want, then war you shall have.
So it's definitely favorable that we do go first. The fact that we have John and Talus in hand will likely pull into a boiling oil or something to remove one of their engines. We have Amphibious Assault this game, unlike the previous one. We have a way to thin the deck quite well, a way to boost it. I do think that we could probably get away with getting rid of the Royal Guard in this case for the drummer. It seems like a better application, and I would say we can leave the rest of the hand. It's pretty strong for round 1. In order to get an edge over the opponent, we could start off rather strong and play our only Carrick frigate. I don't need to use the stratagem on it because it's already 7 power. And then we could just put down a drummer to keep things going strong. We actually forgot to click the boat, but just make sure that when you're playing this, you click the boat every turn. I would say we could just put down Eggman now, because we know they probably don't have another Stunning Blow given the fact that they use Gutting Slash. I'm willing to take the gamble on this one. And there it is. Okay. So a lot of our boost aspects are out of this, and we don't want to play too deep into the round. So we just maybe put down Dunbanner. Next turn we could throw down maybe a Carrick Marine to boost it and pull the second copy from deck for a deck thin, and then try to escape the round undamaged, really.
Accept our sacrifice!
The alternative here would be to take out the Svalbard Priest before it gets out of hand. It deals for a quick 5. So we can actually go with John Natalis into Boiling Oil. And it still plays very well into our deck thinning. And because we don't want to bottleneck later, we're still going to try to thin out the Dunbanner before we look for a pass in this round. And I think we'll be able to do that just fine. So in this case, I'll actually play on, because we can dry pass round 2 and just make sure that the deck is thinned out nicely. Come back in round 3 with all the components that we need to take the game. And the whole swap graveyard with deck Lippy style that you guys might have seen, I think that that's what's coming in this game. So it doesn't get its maximum value if we're just getting them down to round 3 right away. So I feel like Drummer is the weakest link here. We could probably shuffle that back in for Anastranger, and I feel much better about that one. If anything, we can put the Carrick Marine and look for something stronger. So ideally, if I can pull into Corvo, the Defender, and that's about it, really, I'll be happy. We do have 2 duels, so Viraxis is definitely appreciated, but not required. there we have it. So we only have to worry about the problem once and not really a big push from them. They'll get the points they need. But I think we'll do just fine. In this case, I would say we could keep the Mad Charge for now, maybe get rid of the Royal Guard. Second Tridam is actually a very good thing, so we can actually maybe look at putting back the... let's say... the Marine. That's not too bad. So we could pull Corvo with our Amphibious, get the Defender down, get a lot of vitality and charges saved for the Tridams to end up dealing lots of damage in late round. We have 2 duels in hand, a hard reset for their tallest unit. I'm pretty confident with this one so far. I would imagine that they're probably using a Karathi Heatwave to banish the Defender, and they might have a Giga Scorpion to get around the Corvo, so we have to be very careful when we're playing these cards. So normally I like to pull a bronze unit, but we definitely need Corvo. It's an essential part of this build, so we're going to go ahead and get things started here. And we'll definitely use a leader charge on it just to keep it safe. And we'll likely put in Anna Strenger between the two and then a Tridam on either side as the next couple turns. There's the Karathi for it. So it's not ideal, but we'll use... there we go. Just so that Anna stays on board. We'll put a Tridam down next turn to the left of Anna. We'll put a Tridam down afterwards to the right of Anna. And that's the best chance we're going to have at really getting things started. I would imagine Giga Scorpion comes down now, or Blue Boy. Probably full charge on that. And fortunately, both of them will survive. We definitely want to put Tridam there and give it a break. I think Corvo definitely needs our last leader charge. Otherwise, we lose Corvo in this. And we'll just keep Anna at 7 so that it stays on the board. The only thing that I don't like in this setup is that now we don't have a shield for the duels, but we had to make it work. Something like that. We'll give it a couple boosts to keep it out of, again, Giga Scorpion range. And we certainly hope that the damage pings don't go off the Blue Boy Lugos, because then we're going to be taking damage back ourselves. So now we can get a little bit greedier, and we can put a Mad Charge down on one of these for additional damage. Just to keep it going. Ideally, we'd like to have a Knight on the board to get the maximum value from the Vitality, but we want to save these to last. So ideally, the Mad Charge would have been best played if the Defender was still alive.
I demand
And we'll boost this quite a bit. We'll keep it to around 8 just so that they don't have any sort of damage cards that are going to take it away. This will be our duel. Okay. Yeah. We'll just take it out with a clean 8 without taking damage here. And just let that sink in for a second. We have a really hard reset on the Svalbard Priest, which is great. Fortunately, we only lose the Lyrian Scytheman in this case because they're playing a discard card. So that gives us the ability to win this game with much ease. And if you see here, basically we'll go with the Baron down on melee, reset the 18, pump the 3 charges into the Tridam, and look for the tallest unit to duel out, which would be 6. And the rest kind of sorts itself out. So this is more of an example of what we get when we're playing all of our good cards. We still didn't pull into the Varaxis King, however we got our duel situation taken care of. We maximized the use of the Tridams, and we avoided the Karathi and some other damage cards, which were quite challenging. So there you have it, guys. It's a very easy deck to play once you get the hang of it. It deals tons of damage, it has tons of boost to help keep your engines running, and it's definitely something that would help you rank. The first game was a tie, however I was showing you the example of when you don't pull what you're looking for. It's still very good. And the second game was just an overkill win because we got the pieces that we needed in order to make it happen. And if you guys are up to date with the current meta and what a lot of people are playing, the deck that we matched up second is actually very common. So you could see how this would really get you far in the ladder. So with that being said, I'm going to be posting a deck guide on this video on playgwent.com. The link's going to be in the description. And don't forget to drop a follow on Twitch because I stream 5 or 6 days a week. And I'd love to have you there and get your opinions for future videos. So until next time, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys later.